We are very honored to have with us as our keynote speaker tonight and MC, Jonathan Liebert. Jonathan, whose reputation precedes him, the CEO and Executive Director of the Better Business Bureau of Southern Colorado and the Southern Colorado Impact Group. Jonathan is a leading thinker on social impact, small business, and trust in the marketplace, on the local, state, and national stage. You can read full backgrounds on Jonathan and on our panelists on the handout that you received when you came in. We have more at the door to appreciate how each of them, who are about to be on stage tonight, have built their knowledge and their impact. We are honored that Jonathan accepted our invitation to lead this program tonight because we believe that he has powerful insights into how our sector can thrive more. I'm ready for us to thrive more, faster. Let's go. And he genuinely values the arts, demonstrated most recently in his joining the trustees of the B. Vredenberg Foundation. Thank you. Please welcome to the stage, Jonathan Liebert.
I think I'm going to do the mic up here because I'm going to walk around a little bit. So let's see if my new friend's back in the tech booth. Thank you so much. Well, hello everybody. How's it going? So I was talking to Angela a little bit out there, and I commented on the fact that the vibe in this room and the energy with the group that's in here is fantastic. So all of you who are out here tonight, I think this is definitely something that I'm assuming we're going to do again, right? And a lot, because this is needed, wanted, and again, some great people here and some really good energy. So thank you everybody for coming out tonight, for supporting the arts, for supporting Colorado Springs. There's some really cool stuff that we've got going on here. So we're going to talk about this. Artistry and enterprise. We'll kind of get into that a little bit as we move forward in these slides, but I think what's important to know is that we want to blend creative passion with higher purpose, social purpose, whatever type of purpose you want to do, whatever type you want to pick. So I get to skip this slide because we've already done all this, but I will say just one thing on the left. The Colorado Workforce Development Council, along with Copper and other partners at Pikes Peak Workforce and the B. Vredenberg Foundation, have created a sector partnership for the creative sector. This is new, first of its kind in the nation. So we were joking at our first kickoff event, but I'm not joking too much, but no pressure, everybody. Let's make a national model. I mean, seriously. So we say that tongue in cheek, at the same time, like, I think we can do it. I think we can do it. So the first question is this: why are the arts important to our community? And there's lots of different reasons for this, and I have a couple here. This is not all of them, but we don't have a ton of time. But again, I think you kind of get it, right? So number one, it's about cultural identity and expression. Number two, it's about the arts bring people together. It's about educating your community, personal development, health and well-being. And of course, it's nice to look at and enjoy. I think most people kind of get that. They understand that. But I want to talk about this a little bit more, and that's number 7. And that's the economic impact that the arts community has, that the creative sector has. And I think that's what we're here tonight to talk about, to think a little bit different about how all of you may see yourselves, and certainly how the community may see you. And so here's just some quick numbers, right? So for the Colorado as a state, for 2022, the direct economic activity was $184 million. That's a huge portion of the economic, I think, just power and diversity of Colorado. More specifically, here's what it is for Colorado Springs. This is 2022, and it's $998 million. I didn't know that until I saw the report, and I know this is not something that we think about, we talk about, and we should talk about it more, because I think, one, we want to make sure that we're doing good things for the arts. We want to make sure that we're being, creatives. We want to make sure that we're promoting these types of things, but we also need to think of this a little bit different in the sense of economic impact, and also about how we think about this in the sense of from a business perspective. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So here's the question for you. Be honest. This is where I'm going to ask, and this is where audience participation comes in. You just have to raise your hands. How many of you out there would consider yourselves to be artists? Raise your hand. All right. Look around the room here. We got a packed house with artists in here, as we should. The creative community is here tonight. Second question is, how many of you see yourselves as a business owner or an entrepreneur? Raise your hands. Okay, not as many, maybe half. And so I think that's the conversation that we need to have tonight, because for a lot of people that I've spoken to a little bit, it's like, well, I don't think of myself that way, or I'm not, that entrepreneurial capitalism thing, right? Not so much. I've heard people tell me this, and I get it. But here's what I want to tell you tonight, is that there's a different way to look at that. There's a different perspective on this. And it really is this. It's about how do you figure out the way to blend both of those? How do you blend the purpose of what you do, what you believe in, where you pour your heart and soul into your art, and how do you generate profit on that? It's no longer an either or. In the past, it's been an either or. You can be an artist, or you can be a business owner. And that's what we're here tonight to tell you, to talk to you about, is that you can do both. And so this is a hybrid. So we're having this conversation for a couple different reasons. One, I think it's for all of us, it's incumbent upon us to think different about how we see ourselves. It's important for you to see yourselves as an artist, as a creative, and as a business owner, but there's a name for it. And it's something called a social entrepreneur, social impact business. There's all kinds of new names for this. And so that's what I want to talk to you tonight before we bring up our panel, is that as you think different about how you engage, you can do both. You can generate revenue and income, you can charge for your beautiful art, and you can do good things in the community, like all of you are already doing. Pick a cause, pick a purpose, pick something that's near and dear to your heart, that you pour your heart and soul into. You can do both. And so why are we talking about this? Well, there's a need for a new vision. Why? Because the economic rules are changing. People want this. People are willing to pay for it. And this is the definition I just threw out there of social impact business. There's a new business definition for this. You can get a degree in this. And actually at UCCS here in town, you can go get a minor in social impact strategies at UCCS. So the business is changing, business is evolving. It's important that all of you know about this, because you are primed for it already, because of the work that you do and because of how you think and how you create. People want your artwork, but they also want you to go out there and be a business as well. You can do both, but this is a hybrid, so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But again, this social impact business it's either for-profit or non-profit. It doesn't matter which one it is. Why? Because it's just a tax status. All of us have been told here in the United States that you got to pick one or the other. If you want to do good, go start a nonprofit. If you want to make money, go do a for-profit. I'm here today to tell you, no, the tax status works for you, you do not work for it. So you change the way you think about nonprofits and for-profits. It's a tax status. That's it. It's not that way of life. You can do both. You can make money and do good. You can be a nonprofit and make money. There are ways to do this. And so we've got to think different about business. You can be a for-profit and nonprofit and do this. But again, at the end of the day, as long as you're doing this higher purpose kind of thinking, and generating revenue for your mission, right? That's how the social impact business works. And that's what's important about this. So here's something to think about. As we're talking about this to people in the community, they always ask this question, well, is this a fad, Jonathan? Is this just kind of here and it's going to go? Nope. Train's left the station, folks. 75% of millennials believe this is the way that business should be, period. And then guess what? Gen Z, 90%. Train's left the station. This is already happening. This is why I do a lot of conversations like this, making sure people know this is going on, because not everybody's aware that this is the case, and this is important. 78% of consumers want to buy from a business, but they're not quite sure if what people are doing is actually right. So be authentic. Be yourself. Be your true self. Put your stuff out there. This community already does that. For a lot of other businesses, that's the stuff they've got to learn. This community already knows how to be authentic and true to themselves. Now it's just a matter of figuring out the business mechanics to generate revenue and income. And there's a lot of great resources in town already, most of them are free, that can help you with the business side of this. So that's what you want to think about. All right, so what types of sectors are doing this, and how does this work, right? This is just a quick overview of the different types of things. You've heard, businesses that are out there giving money, or nonprofits that are now generating their income, right? There's different ways to do this. I'm not going to go into great detail on this. There's a free resource at BBB. We do every month something called Introduction to Social Impact, where we'll break this down. But the point is just to think different about business now. Think different about how business can go out there and be a tool of inspiration, as a tool to create meaningful change in the world. And there's different ways or different buckets of how you do this. And so we got to think different about business. As you think different about how your artistic endeavors can become a business and do more in that space, just know that this is probably the space for you, is to become a social entrepreneur. Somebody that does both the mission and the business side. You both have the purpose and the passion for this, but you're also making the profit. And so that's what this is. I mentioned this already. To do one or the other, we're not doing that anymore. Pick a nonprofit, pick a for-profit, or switch back and forth. How about we just do both? And so here's how you got to think about it. You got to think about this as this is a new sector of the economy. This is probably one of the most important things I can tell you. This is new. It doesn't happen very often. As you look to the left and the for-profit side, that's been around for thousands of years. On the very top, on the government side, that's been around for thousands of years. On the right side over here, the plural sector, or nonprofit, that's been around for hundreds. In that bottom sector, this fourth sector, this purpose-driven sector, we're talking about like 1990, 1995 or so. Point is this, you're not going to see the birth of a new sector of the economy again in your lifetime. And this is exactly the space where I think many of you are already in, and many of you should get there as quickly as you can, because it's a blend. It's taking the best of both those worlds. It's taking the best of the for-profit world, and it's taking the best of the nonprofit world, and it's combining them. And so these ones on the bottom here, social enterprise, social business, conscious capitalism, social impact, legal entity, there's all kinds of names for this. And so I would urge you to learn more about these and figure out which one of these you feel best suited to be in. There's a lot of different ways to do these businesses, and that's kind of the good news is that it's new, it's exciting, people love it, but at the same time, people kind of say, I have lots of questions. Like, yep, that's why there's a lot of us here. You're going to meet some of these phenomenal social entrepreneurs up on stage here in a minute. They're going to talk about this. And this is what's cool about this town. This is a slide where this is not everybody in town doing this work. This is just what I could fit on a slide for tonight. There's a lot. And there's a lot of people doing cool things out there tonight. You're going to hear from three groups. But I would urge you to do more with this social impact community. I would urge you to do more about this from the standpoint of how you can think of yourself as a business and an artist, and to mix purpose and profit together. This is a very, very cool thing that people want. People will pay more for this. 60% of Americans will pay more for a product that has some kind of environmental value or social value, whatever it is, than they would just kind of do a regular business transaction. People want to do business with people they trust, with people they know are authentic, and with people that they know are doing good things in their community. I guarantee you that's pretty much everybody in here. So people will pay for that. They'll pay extra for that. And so just like some of these folks here on the list, again, this is just some of them, they're doing some really phenomenal and fantastic things in our city. Here's the next most important thing I'm going to tell you tonight, and that's this. Most people don't know this, and so this is like the number one thing I've been going and telling everybody about in the last couple of years. So when you go back in time to the beginning of this, and in this case it's like 1960, they were doing research to figure out who's the number one consumer in the US market. And there were three, and on this chart you can't read it, but it says value-driven consumer, brand-driven consumer, and product-driven consumers. This is what they've been teaching in business schools forever, and nobody kind of talks about this anymore because the number one consumer in the United States has never changed since the 1960s. It's always been the value-driven consumer, and here's what that means. A value-driven consumer buys things based on quality and price. They want the best quality product, but cheaper is always better. And cheapest always usually wins. That's changed, and people don't know this. And so you all now know, and here's what I'm talking about. So when they did this study in 2020, you'll see there, 41% of the market was value-driven consumer. And then for the first time in 2020, they added this fourth bucket here. They added a purpose-driven consumer. And the researchers were shocked to see, because they never added that before, but that year they did, I'm glad they did. But 40% of the market went to a purpose-driven consumer. And so they were kind of astounded by this, but again, at the same time, they'd never thought different about this. They'd just kind of measured those three over and over and over again. So since 2020, I've been telling people, just wait, it's going to change. And it already happened in 2022. So the number one consumer, not just in the United States, but it's also the world at the moment, is a purpose-driven consumer. Most businesses don't know this. So if you're a business and you're marketing to that 37% there, the value-driven consumers, that's the traditional stuff that you see on the commercials. It's about what do you do and how am I better or different, right? We've seen these things a million times. It's boring. Nobody cares. It's kind of like whatever. But if you're a social impact business, if you're a social entrepreneur and you're marketing your services, you're going to start with why. Why are you different? Why are you going out there and promoting the purposeful thing that you're trying to achieve or to accomplish? Why is this important? Why is this going to help solve a problem in your community that you care about and probably everybody sitting around you cares about, but nobody knew they could do that with business. They thought it was just something for nonprofits to do. And nonprofits didn't realize they could go out there and generate their own revenue and income by using business strategies to do that. Because let's be honest, folks, if you're a nonprofit in the room, it's harder to find money. right? So we got to think different about business. We got to use all the skills that are out there to us. But again, most importantly, remember this: the number one consumer that's out there at 44% of the market is a purpose-driven consumer that want to buy from a mission-driven business. They want to buy from an organization that's doing some kind of good in the community. You've got to be able to prove it. You've got to be able to back it up. I'm sure all of us have stories of there's businesses out there saying they're doing good things, and they're not. I work at BBB, trust me, I know who they are. Somebody in this room, y'all are good, I'm just saying. But there's lots of people out there that are doing shady things. They're taking advantage of consumers. Luckily, most consumers are pretty savvy when it comes to this stuff. Greenwashing, purpose washing, they look out for that stuff. But if there's somebody that's doing really good things, and I guarantee you in this room, you know who they are. There's some on that slide I showed you. You know who those good businesses are. And you know who the ones that have a mission or a higher purpose. And you go there because they provide great quality products, great customer service, but you also care. So you showed up, told your friends to buy from them because they're doing good things in your community. That's what the market wants. That's what this research is telling us. So just know that that's the case. That this has been there for a little bit, but right now, people really want this stuff. Kind of now more than ever. They want purpose-driven initiatives. And so again, these consumers, this is just specifically for sustainability-based products, so we're talking about environmental-based stuff, is that 73% is impressive. Consumers who care about this will willing to pay more. What's more impressive is that this has gone up by 50% since 2022. This is just a rhetorical question, but what do you think is driving that? A lot of things, right? People are done with the traditional way of doing things. They want more. They want more for their money. They want to buy from a company that's doing good things, that's going to solve some kind of problem or bring more meaning and purpose. Big businesses know this too. Major corporations know this as well. This is a survey that was done to the Fortune 500 companies in the U.S. And they asked the executives, the C-suite, what do you think about this whole notion of purpose-driven initiatives? Is this a fad? Is this a trend? This is what they said, and the answer was no. 91% believe that business must benefit everybody, not just shareholders. That's wild. This one, on the far right, 85% say that it's no longer acceptable for companies to just make money. They must also do good. I teach at UCCS in the business school. If I would have said that 15 years ago, they would have fired me. Now they hired me because, Jonathan, we need you to talk about this. This is the thing. This is exciting. People want this. Students love this. Like, I know, I'm excited too. Like, come on, hurry up. Let's do more of this stuff. This is going to increase your reputational benefit, your employee recruitment. It's going to help with trust. All the things that businesses need to do well, doing this kind of work should be common sense. But it's not yet. That's what we're working on. Colorado Springs can be a leader in this. We're already taking a large charge already. I'll be honest with you, I love going up to Boulder and Denver and telling them what we're doing in this space. And they go, where are you from? I'm from Springs, and we're coming for you. and they give me this look, and I'm like, I'm not kidding. And then some time will go by, I'll see them like 6 months later, and they're like, we've been doing research on you because we kind of, written you off, and like, we've been following up on you. And this is what they'll say. What's in the water down there in Springs? It's like, right? You know what I'm talking about. This is a fun town. This is a good community because we have a sense of community and because we care. So we got to utilize those strengths and do those things to make sure that we're focusing on this stuff. So as I wrap up and we'll bring the panel up here in a minute, I just want to just kind of reiterate for all the creatives out there in the community tonight. You already know what it means to be a creative. You already know what it means to be an artist. I would urge you to think just a little bit different about the business side of your brain. And I'm one of those too. I am a therapist by trade. That's what I started to do. And I was working in the mental health space. And I didn't realize that I had this recessive entrepreneurial gene that just kind of popped up one day because I was helping people with disabilities find a job. And what I figured out really quickly was when people find a job, they get better quicker, and they stay healthier longer because they have purpose. And that's a lot of the work that you're doing too. You have purpose. You have a big purpose. You're going to make the world a better place. Again, no pressure. But that's what you're doing. You're making the world a better place. You're making it more beautiful to live in. So take that skill, take that expertise, and let's create not only a beautiful world, but let's evolve business. Let's reinvent capitalism a little bit. That's what's happening right now. And that's really, really cool stuff. And all of you are in a town that gets this, that understands this, and that loves this. So take take advantage in a good way of the really great resources that are here, of the really savvy people that understand this stuff, and the consumers that are here already that want to support you. They just don't know that you're out there yet. And so that's what a lot of us are here to do, is to make sure we're marketing for you and telling the story and making sure we're pushing this out there. So with that, thank you, everybody. That's the tee up for the panel, but hopefully that you've got some good takeaways here. But think about that. Think about life as a social entrepreneur. It's a hybrid space where purpose and profit meets. Thank you, everybody.